Today we're making a flower pillow. You can find the free written pattern with extra tips at vivcrochets.com or linked in the description. This is more of an advanced beginner project, but you could definitely do it as your very first because I go over each stitch and each step of the process. And if you find this tutorial helpful, please leave a like or comment to let me know. Thanks so much, and let's get started. The yarn I'll be using is Red Heart Super Saver, which is a medium weight yarn. You can use any yarn you want, but if you do, then the size of your pillow might be slightly different from mine. So you need 3 colors. I'll be using gold for the center of the flower. I'll be using Aran for the petals and pale plum for the base of the pillow. So this yarn recommends a 5.5mm hook, but I will be using a 4mm hook so that the stitches are tighter and it's less holey. I'll also be using some scissors and a yarn needle for sewing. And of course you'll need fiber fill. You can use any fiber fill you want. I'm using Polyfill Crafter's Choice, and this one is nice because it's washable, hypoallergenic, and made from recycled materials. And everything you'll need will be linked in the description. So we're going to be starting with the center of the flower. So I have my gold yarn, and if you like the magic ring you can do that, but I'll be doing a substitution for the magic ring. And it starts with a slip knot. And to make a slip knot, we're going to place the yarn over our hand, and then with our thumb we're going to hold it down, grab the top, wrap it around 2 fingers to form an X. Then we'll just hold it with our pinky, and with our hook we're going to go under one side of the X, then over, grab the other side, and pull it through. Then remove your fingers and tighten the knot. Then we're going to chain 4. To chain, yarn over, pull through. Again, yarn over and pull through. Then we'll do that 2 more times. So now we have 4 chains, and to form the ring, we're going to slip stitch to the first chain we made. So insert your hook in through the V of this first chain, and we're going to go through the V, and we're also going to go under the back loop as well. So we have these 2 loops on our hook. And then we're going to take our middle finger and our thumb and grab the loop like this and pull it away from our hook. And then we'll yarn over, pull through, and through the loop on our hook. And now we're pinching the middle of the ring. And now we can start round 1. And to start every new round, we're going to chain 2. So we're going to do 16 double crochets into this ring. And this chain 2 does not count as our first double crochet. So to do double crochet, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the ring, then yarn over, pull through. Now we have 3 loops on our hook. We'll yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, to do double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into that ring, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we have 2 so far, and we're going to do 13 more and stop at 15. And if you're having trouble fitting all of your double crochets into this ring, you can chain 5 instead of 4 in the very beginning. And I'm always pushing them over to the right side just to make more space for my new double crochets. So once you have 15 double crochets, we're going to do our last double crochet, but we're going to grab our petal color yarn and have it ready because in our last double crochet we're going to switch colors. So here I have 15, and you can count them by the posts or by the V's on top. So when we do our 16th double crochet, we're going to pull through the last 2 loops in our new color. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the ring, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And then we're going to drop the gold yarn, pick up our petal color yarn, hook it onto our hook, and pull it through the 2 loops. And to secure our new yarn, we're going to tie it to the old yarn. So this tail here, we're going to tie it to this one, and we're going to double knot it. And since we're not using our gold color yarn anymore, we can cut it off. And every time we cut our yarn, it doesn't have to be super long because we're not weaving in any loose ends. They'll be on the inside of the pillow. And now we can pull on the very first loose end and close up this hole. And now we're going to end the round with a slip stitch. And we're going to slip stitch to the very first double crochet we made in this round. So if you look here, you can see our first double crochet. To the right of it is our chain 2. And then at the top of the double crochet is this V. We're going to go under this V. Pick up our new yarn. Yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop on our hook, and tighten. And that's how we'll end every round. Now we're going to work the second round. So again, to start every new round, we're going to chain 2. And our very first stitch of every round is going to go into that same stitch we slip stitched to. So we'll go into that same space under the V and do our double crochet. And then we're going to do another stitch into that same space, but we're going to switch to our base color yarn at the end of this stitch. So make sure you have your base color yarn ready, and we're going to start a double crochet in this stitch and finish it with our purple. So again, we'll yarn over, insert our hook back into that same space, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, drop our white yarn, pick up our purple, hook it onto our hook, and pull it through the last 2 loops. And now we can work with our purple yarn. And again, to secure it, we're going to tie a double knot with the previous yarn. And now we're going to move on to the next stitch and do 1 double crochet and switch back to our white yarn at the end of it. So the next stitch is here. We're going to yarn over, go under that V, and you can carry your yarn, or you can just leave it hanging and we'll pick it back up later. So if you want to carry it in your stitches, make sure you go over your hook, but if you don't, just leave it off your hook. And we'll yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and pause. And we're going to switch back to our white yarn. So pick up the white yarn, yarn over, and pull it through the last 2 loops.
And now we're going to repeat this all the way around.
So every 2 stitches in this round will look like this, with 2 stitches in white and 1 in purple. So we'll move on to the next stitch and we'll do 2 double crochets and switch back to our purple in the second one. So there's 1, and we're going to leave the last 2 loops on our second double crochet and pick up our purple and finish it. And then we're going to do that 1 double crochet in the next stitch, leave 2 loops, and pick up the white yarn, and finish it. So now it's looking like this, and we're just going to continue repeating this all the way around. So the next stitch will have 2 double crochets in the white, and remember to switch to your purple on your second double crochet, and do 1 double crochet in purple, switch back to the white before you finish, and it should look like that. And I'm not carrying the yarn under the stitches, so I'm leaving them hanging, and there'll be a strand of yarn going across every time we change colors. Make sure you're not pulling too tight. Make sure it's a little bit loose. When I change colors, I'm going to pick it up and loosely hook it onto my hook. I'm not going to pull it so tight that it gets all bunched up. So make sure it's pretty loosely hooked on, and then complete your double crochet. And remember to keep that in mind for every time you do a color change in this pattern. And as long as you made 16 stitches in the first round and you did this pattern correctly, you should end with a double crochet in purple. And before we finish our last double crochet, we're going to switch back to our white. And we're also going to slip stitch in our white. So again, to slip stitch, we're going to find the first double crochet we made this round. It's this one here. At the top, we'll go under the V, then yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop on our hook and tighten. And there is our second round. Now we're going to work our third round, and again we're going to chain 2, and we're going to do a double crochet into the stitch we just slip stitched to, and in the next stitch we'll do 2 double crochets. So there's 1, and we're going to do 1 more into that same space. But since our next stitch is purple, we're going to switch back to our purple yarn. And for the purple, we're going to do 2 double crochets on top of the purple stitch. So we'll do 1, and then we're going to go back in and do another 1, but we're going to change back to our white because the white stitch is next. And then we're going to repeat this pattern all the way around. So on top of these 3 stitches, we're just going to repeat that all the way around. So again, that's a double crochet in white on top of the first, and then 2 on top of the next. Making sure we switch back to our purple. And then in the purple, we'll do 2 double crochets. And we'll switch back to our white. So it's looking like this. We do 1 double crochet, and then 2, and switch to our purple, and do 2 double crochets, and switch to our white. And we're going to continue this pattern all the way around. And again, for our very last stitch, we're going to switch back to the white. And we're also going to slip stitch to the first stitch of the round. And there is our third round done. So for round 4, we're going to do a similar pattern. We're going to do 2 double crochets at the end of each petal. So in the 3rd stitch of each petal. but we're not going to do 2 double crochets in the purple. We're just going to do 1 into each of the 2 stitches. So that'll look like this. We're going to chain 2, as always, then do 1 double crochet into the stitch we slip stitch to, and then we'll do 1 double crochet into the next. And in the last stitch of the petal, we're going to do 2 double crochets. And you'll see that we do this every single time. The last stitch of every petal will have 2 double crochets. And don't forget to switch back to your purple, because we have that coming next, and we're going to do just 1 double crochet into each of these 2 stitches. And we'll switch back to the white, and we're just going to repeat that. So one more time, that's 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and then 2 double crochets, making sure to switch back to the purple in our last one. And then we'll do 1 double crochet, and 1 double crochet, and switch back to the white. And that's the pattern we're going to repeat this round. And again, make sure you change back to the white for your last stitch, then slip stitch. And there is round 4. And to do round 5, we're going to do a double crochet all the way around, and we're going to do 2 double crochets into the last stitch of each petal, as always, and also the last stitch of the purple. And that looks like this. We'll chain 2, do a double crochet in the first stitch until we get to the last stitch of the petal. And we're going to do 2 double crochets in the last stitch of the petal, switch back to the purple. And for the purple, we're going to do 1 double crochet in the first stitch and 2 into the second stitch. And with our second stitch, we're going to switch back to the white. So that's the pattern for this round. And there it is again. And we'll do that all the way around. And that is round 5. And for round 6, we're going to do something a little different. We're only going to be working with the white yarn, the petal color, and we're going to start forming the curves at the end of each petal. So to do that, we're not going to chain 2 at the start of this round, and we're going to skip the first 2 stitches. So skip that stitch that we just slip stitched to, and the second one. And in the third, this should be the center stitch. There should be 2 on each side of it. We're going to do 6 double crochets. And then we're going to slip stitch to the last stitch of the petal. So again, there's the third stitch, this is the fourth, and this is the fifth. The very last stitch, we're going to go under the V and do our slip stitch. And you can see it forms a sort of curve for the end of the petal. And now we need to hop over to this next petal. And to do that, we're going to chain 3. So here are 3 chains, and we're going to skip over this entire purple section and we're going to slip stitch to the first stitch on this petal. And we're just going to repeat this same thing. We're going to find the center stitch, which is this 3rd one here. There's 2 on either side of it. And we're going to do 6 double crochets into this stitch. And once you have your 6 double crochets, we're going to slip stitch to the last stitch of this petal. And there's our 2nd petal. And we're going to chain 3 and slip stitch to the first stitch of the next petal. Do 6 double crochets into this center. And slip stitch to the last stitch of the petal. And we'll chain 3 and just keep repeating this all the way around. So I finished all of my petals, and now we're going to work this 6th round, but in the purple only. So first we're going to slip stitch to this first stitch of purple. So insert your hook into that purple stitch, drop your white yarn, pick up the purple, pull through the stitch and through the loop on our hook. And make sure you tighten the white yarn. And now we're going to chain 2. And we're going to do a double crochet into that same stitch. And then we're going to do a double crochet into each of the next 2 purple stitches. And then we need to skip over this entire petal, so we're going to chain 6. And we'll skip over this petal and work into this purple space. And we're going to yarn over and go into this purple stitch. Just going to go through it, and we're also going to catch this white chain. We're going to double crochet around everything like that. And we're just doing 1 into each stitch. Just like that. And we'll move on to the next one by chaining 6. And we'll skip this entire petal and work a double crochet into the next purple part. And we're just going to continue doing that. Chain 6. Do a double crochet into each of these 3 purple stitches. And we'll repeat all the way around. And after you're done with your last set of 3 stitches, we're going to chain 6 and slip stitch to the first double crochet here. And make sure all of the petals are sticking up. They're going on top of the chain 6. Like that. Also, we're done with the petals, so we can just cut off the yarn. So for this round, we're going to do double crochet all the way around except for the first and last stitch of the petals.
For these 2 stitches on each petal, we're going to do treble crochets. And we're going to do 2 treble crochets in the first and the last stitch. So first we're going to chain 2 and then do a double crochet over these 3 stitches. And then we're going to start working on the petal. So the first stitch of the petal is down here, and we're going to do a treble crochet. So to make the petal a little more pronounced, we're going to work in the back loops. So instead of going under both loops of the V, we're going to go in through the top and out the back. In through the top and out the back. And we're also going to be holding this chain in our stitches like we did last round. So to do a treble crochet, we're going to yarn over twice, insert our hook into the first stitch, and again from the top, through the V and out the back loop. And make sure we're going under this chain, and then we'll yarn over, pull through, and we should have 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And again, we're doing 2 treble crochets in the first and last. So again, we're going to yarn over twice, go into the same stitch in the back loop only, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's 2 treble crochets in the back loop of the first stitch. Then we're going to do just regular double crochets in the back loops of the petal in the middle. Remember to go under this chain in the back. So after your 4 double crochets, we're going to end up at the last stitch of the petal, and we're going to do 2 treble crochets in the back loop of the last stitch. And now we're going to end up at the purple section, and we're just going to do a double crochet into each of these 3 stitches. And we're going to end up back at another petal. So again, 2 treble crochets into the first stitch in the back loops, making sure we're going under this chain as well. And then a double crochet into each of these 4 stitches in the middle. And then 2 treble crochets into the last stitch. And we're just going to continue working this same pattern all the way around. For round 8, we're going to chain 2. And for the first stitch, we're going to do 2 double crochets. So we have 2 double crochets into the first stitch. Then we're going to do 1 double crochet into each of the next 10 stitches. So I did 2 double crochets in this first stitch, and then 1 double crochet into each of the next 10 stitches. And I'm going to repeat that. So 2 double crochets into the next stitch, and then I'll do 10 double crochets. And we're just going to repeat that all the way around. And as long as your stitch count is correct, you should finish the round with your 10 double crochets. And round 9 is very similar. We're going to chain 2 and do 2 double crochets into the very first stitch. And this time we're going to do 1 double crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. And we're just going to repeat that. And our last round is round 10. And we're going to chain 2, do 2 double crochets into the first stitch. And then we're going to do 1 double crochet for each of the next 8 stitches. And we'll do that all the way around. And we're done with our front panel of our pillow, and we can fasten off. And if you want a bigger pillow, you can add more rounds by doing 2 double crochets in the first stitch, and then 9 double crochets. And then the next one would be 2 double crochets in the first stitch, and then 10. And then 11, 12, 13, like that. But if you're happy with the size, we're going to fasten off. And to fasten off, we'll chain 1 and cut our yarn. And then we'll pull through with our hook and tighten the knot. So here is the front panel, and we're going to make the back panel now. And you can't just repeat the pattern, make the flower on both sides, but I am just going to make the back purple. And if you do want to do just a solid back, then we're going to make a slip knot. And to make a slip knot, place the yarn over your hand, hold it with your thumb, grab the top, wrap it around 2 fingers to form an X, go under one side of the X, over, grab the other side, pull it through, remove your fingers, and tighten the knot. And we're going to start it the same way. We're going to chain 4. And we're going to slip stitch to the first chain we made. And we're going to chain 2 to start round 1. And round 1, we're just going to do 12 double crochets into the ring. So instead of 16, we're just doing 12. And once we have our 12 double crochets, we're going to slip stitch. And close the hole in the center. And that's round 1. And to start round 2, we're going to do 2 chains, and then we're going to do 2 double crochets into every single stitch.
And then we're going to slip stitch and chain 2. And round 3 is going to be 2 double crochets in the first stitch and then just 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and we're going to repeat that around. So 2 double crochets and then 1 and then 2 and 1. So third round is going to look like this. And the fourth round, we're going to chain 2, do 2 double crochets in the first stitch, and instead of 1 double crochet, we're going to do 2. So I mean 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1 and then 1. And this is going to be what we're repeating this round. And if you notice, every round we're adding another double crochet. So round 3 had 2 double crochets in the first stitch and then 1 double crochet after that. Round 4 has 2 double crochets in the first stitch and then 2 double crochets after that. Then 5th round will be 2 double crochets in the first stitch and then 3 double crochets. So we're just adding 1 extra double crochet every new round. And we're going to continue this pattern until we have 10 rounds. And if you're ever unsure about anything, I do have the written pattern linked in the description, or you can just type in vivcrochets.com. So here I've done my 10 rounds, and we're going to fasten off, but we're going to leave a long enough strand of yarn to sew the 2 panels together. So again, to fasten off, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to measure out how much yarn we'll need, and I usually do twice the length we're sewing. So I'm just going to lay the yarn around the circle. So that's about 1 length around the circle. And then I'll do 1 more. And that should be enough, but if you want to make sure, then you can cut a little extra. And then we're going to pull through with our hook. And tighten this knot. Now we have these 2 panels and we're going to sew them together. First, we're going to make sure that the right side is facing up. So these are the backs of the panels, and these are the nicer looking sides, and we're going to put them back to back. So the right side is facing out. And we're going to grab our yarn needle and thread our yarn into the needle. We're going to line up the knots where we fastened off, and we're going to start with the stitches to the left of the knots. And we're going to go under both loops of the V again. So we're going to go under the V of this first stitch to the left of the knot on the back panel, or sorry, the front panel. Then we'll go under this stitch to the left of this knot, and we'll pull the yarn through. And then we'll move on to the next stitch. Go under the V, and then under the V of the next stitch on this panel, and pull it through. And we're just going to continue going all the way around, moving on to the next stitch and sewing them together. We're going to go all the way around and stop around here, so there's a little hole for us to put our stuffing in. So I've sewn all the way around except for this little hole, and I'm going to stuff it with fiber fill. If your pillow is lumpy when you stuff it, then you can try pulling the fiber fill apart like this. And it'll help it stuff smoother. So we're going to stuff it almost all the way full, and then close it a little bit more, and then finish adding however much we need so that it's even all the way around. So first I'll close it up a little bit more. So if you need to, just add in the rest of your stuffing, and then we can finish closing it up. Your stitches should line up. And you can see there is a little hole. You can go back into the first stitch and go into the last stitch, and that should close it up. And if you're happy with everything, we can tie a double knot with this loose end here. And then we can use our hook or your yarn needle and hide this into the pillow. So just go over and poke the hook out like that, and hook the ends onto your hook and pull it through. And just try to get all of it. And now your pillow might be looking a little rough. You can flatten it and move the stuffing around to make it look smoother. And your flower pillow is finished. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.